The science itself has been under probably a bigger public assault in terms of its validity as a result of the COVID pandemic than I can ever remember in my lifetime, certainly. Is it damaging when everybody on social media suddenly becomes an epidemiologist, whatever it may be, any different type of science you like, or medical expert, whatever, when their views get amplified, like Terrence Howard, if they're completely wrong, they get amplified and shared gazillions of times, as has happened here with a lot of the things that he said. Is it damaging to the integrity of science when that happens? And is that a unique problem with social media amplifying amateur scientific and medical views?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I would think that we would begin somewhere else. The greatest damage is when we amplify pseudoscientists who happen to be official pseudoscientists. So when you take a director of NAI, National Institute for Allergies and Infectious Disease, and you take that person's contradictory pronouncements and you amplify those, then suddenly everybody has to learn what mRNA is because they're trying to make a decision for their child, and suddenly you've thrust them into advanced biology because you've amplified pseudoscience coming out of the National Institute of Health or the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA. The failure and the pseudoscience is coming from inside the house. The problem is when a Francis Collins and an Anthony Fauci in private emails can turn their dissenting colleagues, fully competent, expert, dissident colleagues like Jay Bhattacharya and his colleagues at Harvard and Oxford, and overnight they become fringe epidemiologists, right? So more or less what you're seeing is not a failure of science. What you're seeing is a failure of science to disavow public health. Public health is not science. Public health is an incredibly bizarre field that tries to straddle two worlds of actual truth and the noble lie. And as I've said before, the problem is the failure to cancel an ex-spouse's credit card privileges. When the person takes the credit card on a spree, science did not cancel its credit card that it had given to public health. And so what we had was an incredible destruction of trust in science, which is completely unwarranted because people who are not acting as scientists, who may have at one time been scientists but have gone over to public policy, were allowed to lie on science's behalf. That's a failure. Yeah, I understand why the credit rating got beaten up, but for God's sakes, just cut off the credit card and learn where scientists lie and where they do not. They don't lie generically. There's nothing wrong with Hooke's law. There's nothing wrong with the adapter hypothesis in biology. There's nothing wrong with most of what we consider to be science. We lie in very special places out of necessity.